So it seems that we have a bigger problem than just science research. Look, let's put aside if it's legal, if it's consent, if what. Let's put aside all the law, because really, what these researchers seem to want to care about is making sure that they follow the standards. But what my question is, and wait till I read this, is why didn't it dawn on any of them, just on a human level alone, like, let's not do this? Does anybody understand what I'm saying here? Put aside that whether it's legal, it's not legal. They dotted all the I's, marked all the T's. Let's forget all that from it. Why was it okay for so many of these researchers to do these things when most of us, at least me, I wouldn't do this to other human beings? And many of the stuff there wasn't even a reason for it. So this was 2022, as you can see. UCSF issues report, apologizes for unethical 1960 to 70s prison research. So it says here, it's a long article, so I can't read all of it. The report acknowledges that Dr. Maabach was working during a time when the governance of human subject research was evolving, both at UCSF and at institutions across the country. Over a 6-month period, the committee gathered some 7,000 archival documents, medical journal articles, interviews, documentaries, books, much of which has yet to be analyzed. UCSF has acknowledged that it may issue a follow-up report. So they're still going through all of this, because what it says here is that recognizing that justice, healing, and transformation require acknowledgement of past harms, UCSF has created the Program for Historical Reconciliation. The program is housed under the Office of Executive Vice Chancellor and Provost, and was started by current Executive Vice Chancellor and Provost Dan Lowenstein, MD. The program's first report, released this month, investigates experiments from the 1960s and 70s involving incarcerated men at California Medical Facility. Many of these men were being assessed or treated for psychiatric diagnoses. The research reviewed in the report was performed by Dr. Howard Maubach and Dr. William Epstein, both faculty in UCSF's Department of Dermatology. Epstein was a former chair of the department who died in 2006. The committee was asked to focus on the work of Dr. Maubach, who remains an active member of the department. Some of the experiments exposed research subjects to pesticides and herbicides or administered medications with side effects. In all, some 2,600 incarcerated men were experimented on. The men volunteered for the studies and were paid for participating. So normally people would say, oh, well, a done deal. They were paid and they participated. But no. What we don't ever, no, that's fine. But wait till I read, because there was no reason for what they did. There was nothing to come of it. So that's what I mean. It's like with all these researchers, there's no boundaries, just like our professional organizations have no boundaries. They're too higher educated. Like something, because this is what, they never go to jail. That's the other reason this keeps happening. This isn't just one report. There's many here. This is an ongoing pattern in this free country, United States, and it's the higher educated that don't seem to have any ethical boundaries. Well, and that's clear now because look at what they're doing to children. Some of the experiments exposed research. Okay, I said that. The men volunteered for studies and were paid for participating, but the report raises ethical concerns over how the research was conducted. Such practices were common. Like, I guess part of it was they didn't record the records of consent, and they did not have any of the medical conditions that any of the experiments would have potentially treated. Do you see what I'm saying? So there was no reason to do it. There was no benefit to learn anything that it could help or treat anything. They just did it to do it. Such practices were common in the U.S. at the time and were increasingly being criticized both by experts and in the lay press. The research continued until 1977, when the state of California halted all human subject research in state prisons a year after the federal government did the same. The report acknowledged that Dr. Mauerbach was working during a time when the governance of human subject researches was evolving, as I read already. The report found that Maccabee practiced questionable research methods. Archival records and published articles have failed to show any protocols that were adopted regarding informed consent and communicating research risks to participants who were incarcerated. In a review of publications between 1960 and 1980, the committee found virtually all of Maccabee's studies lacked documentation of informed consent, despite a requirement for formal consent instituted in 1966 by the newly formed Committee on Human Welfare and Experimentation. Based on our archival research of internal human subject research review board records and state of California hearing proceedings, PHR, which is the Committee for Human Research, PHR has concluded that Dr. Mauerbach, I'm saying that wrong, I'm sorry, Dr. Mauerbach and others engaged in questionable informed consent practices at the prison, especially before 1969. The author said the researchers bypassed requirements to report their research to UCSF's Human Subjects Committee through a nonprofit organization. So, it says here, the report noted that Maccabee and Epstein were trained by Albert Klingman, MD, a dermatologist at the University of Pennsylvania, who conducted studies at Holmesburg Prison in Philadelphia. Mauerbach and Epstein brought Klingman's methods to California when they joined UCSF faculty. Yeah, that's what I mean. All these universities, the scientists, I honestly, I feel like it's being overeducated, is somehow they lose, like, some of the things. If you read into any of these experiments through the years, and don't think they went away, they didn't. They just get more creative about how they're doing it. But it calls into question that our researchers don't have a conscience. Because no matter what the reasons, we wanted to find this out, or no, it should have, like, dawned on you, maybe we shouldn't do this. Like, I think the science has made everybody sicker. In 2019, Penn Medicine stated that while Klingman's research may have met the ethical or the legal standards of its time, it was unethical and disrespectful of its subjects, many of whom were imprisoned black men. Yeah, some of it was not, there was no point to it whatsoever. And so most people would say, that was in the 60s or that was in the 70s. No, this is a continual pattern. And I think what needs to be studied, and I mean this in all honesty, what needs to be researched and studied is the people that have been doing this stuff forever, this kind of stuff to people, and there's no reason for it. It's actually just led to more harm, just like the transgender on youth will lead to more harm, but then the science loves it because it's more research subject. It's crazy. They're crazy, okay? Yeah, and why isn't there any accountability? So really they make this apology. That's it. We're sorry. We're sorry. Like the rest of us, if we had first of all, most normal people wouldn't do half of what these researchers do for really no good reason. Because we have a moral compass, you have a conscience. But then all they have to do, they continue to do it because all they have to do if they get caught is say, I'm sorry, and because I'm higher educated, I never go to jail because I'm an expert. Yeah, that's how great the experts are.